Hi everyone, this is the third episode of my weekly update thing that I do when I talk about my workouts and kind of them and less of just look what I did, like what I usually do when I post the videos. It's just more of a catalog of the different stuff that I did. But an update kind of on the cut that I've been doing. I think at least this morning I was like 187 and a half, 188, 187, somewhere around there. I just have like a needle scale, so it isn't precise, but I have been pretty consistently losing a little bit of weight. Right now I'm using my FitnessPal to track calories and all that sort of stuff, and actually yesterday was the first day that I was able to get 200 grams of protein because I'm in such a caloric deficit to what I'm in normally. It's been very difficult to get adequate amounts of protein and things like fiber, but I've actually figured out even I just have some black beans or something, then my fiber is pretty easy to get. Protein and all that stuff can be a lot easier to get. I think what I did yesterday, I just had extra chicken and that sort of stuff, but I'm starting to figure out the cut, and I'm feeling like I have a lot more energy now that I figured out how to get the amount of protein and fiber and stuff that I need while still being in a deficit with carbs and fats and the things like that. So hopefully my cut will continue to progress there. I want to get down to 100, and I think on my FitnessPal I said 180 pounds just because it was one more pound, but I need to be 181 by April 16th, or at least for that morning of it. My big goal is not to like get all the way down there straight, but as long as I'm like within a couple pounds to where I can cut water or just naturally get it off a little bit, I'm fine with that. I know it's going to be difficult to get all the way down to 181, but if I'm at like 180, 183 or 184, I think I should be pretty easily and safely able to cut water or whatever without it being a detriment to my lifts. Now, in more of an update on this current week, that's just about the end. On Monday, I had my usual leg workout, and what I wanted to do this week in my three main lifts, the squat, bench, and deadlift, is to work to a heavy single. What I wasn't good about planning initially, and what I changed after Monday, was that I didn't use a percentage or anything. I was just like just a generic heavy single, as heavy as I can go, or as heavy. I was just going by perceived exertion entirely. And after Monday, I was doing a squat, heavy single, then I was going to do my working sets, which I'm just posting a video of, not that day, but the next day, and I'll explain why in a second. I worked to 395, and then I failed it 3 times, which is very annoying because I've done 395 consistently. I did 405 consistently, and I think I even almost did 405 for a double. So like 395, I should be able to hit for a single with not with extreme ease, but comfortably. Like I should have confidence in that. And once I failed that 3 times, then I was like, I just don't feel like doing the rest of my workout. I was kind of tired that day, so I just left. I did a little bit of cardio, and then I left. And I came back the next day and did legs again. And after I went home, I was thinking like, well, maybe I should be smarter about the heavy singles and kind of work it with a percentage. So I went and then I made 90%, and 90% of my current 1 rep max for squat of 430 is about 385 pounds. I think it was like 386 or 386 maybe and some change. So when I got the percentages, I just rounded to like the nearest 5, whatever. Like if it was 386, I just rounded down to 385. For deadlifts, it was in the same boat. I did that on Thursday, where it said it was like 526 was 90%, so I just did 525. And that video's on Instagram if you want to see it now, or it'll be up later this week. And same with bench. It was actually bench, I was the most aggressive with that. I think it was like 255 was 90% of my 1 rep max, but I ended up just doing 265 because I'm pretty comfortable with that, and I feel like my 1 rep max is higher than my current of 280. But then again, it's whatever. And I did the 265 a heavy single twice this week. Yesterday when I did it, it felt pretty good, but my shoulders were quite sore, and they didn't really get too bad until after I did all my like main upper body lifts, and I was trying to do like dips or something, and I just shut it down. And I think part of that is just because I'm in a caloric deficit, and it's just going to make me more sore in general. I'm not going to recover as optimally as I was when I was eating normally and stuff. But now that I've kind of figured out my diet and how to get enough protein and fiber and stuff like that, I think I'm going to start feeling a lot better in the next couple weeks as I'm dieting. I think that was a big issue, is that a lot of my calories were coming from carbohydrates, which isn't necessarily bad, but when they don't have a lot of protein or fiber or whatnot, it's not good, because then I wasn't getting enough protein and fiber, which are two big things to one, like making me not feel hungry, and obviously like recovery and stuff like that. Most of the other nutrients I was pretty much fine with, but I've been using MyFitnessPal to kind of track all that. And I know it's not exact or anything, but it gives me a good general sense of where to stay around, and how much I had and what various things have. Because like if I go to Chipotle, it's kind of nice to know like where about how many calories a chicken bowl or whatever has, because I'm not going to take it back and measure it all out, because well, I'm going to eat it. So so we had that day. I had that day on Monday where I sucked, and then I came back on Tuesday and I had a good workout. And you can see those squats. They'll be posted today, I think. But I did, yeah. So, and then I worked up to 385, and I was able to get it. I was a grinder, but I got it, which was the big thing I wanted to do. And then I worked down. I just did like sets of 3 with 335, and then progressed by 10 pounds to 355 for 3 sets. And my workouts throughout the week felt really, really good. And I think what I'm going to do next week is to cut volume down. I want to do more heavy singles at a higher percentage, but I'm going to do so with less volume. On Monday will be the biggest iffy day, because the cutting of volume won't really have taken effect by Monday as much, but I am quite confident on the Tuesday and the Thursday, when I do my benching single and deadlift single, that they will feel a lot better, because I won't have the accessory work, because that's what I'm going to be taking out for next week, is kind of like the accessory stuff, the extra stuff that I do. I'm still going to keep the cardio in, the abs in, kind of like the light things like that don't really affect me lifting wise, because well, one, for the cardio I want to still be able to do like the cutting stuff and stay up with that, because obviously I'm like 187.5 now. I want to get down to 181, or as close to it as I can before the meet. And the sooner that I can get down to it, I think the better. Obviously, I don't want to drop like 4 pounds a day or something crazy like that. But the more, the closer that I am to it, the less I have to worry about cutting, and the more I can worry about maintaining and just getting close to that. Then on the the day before, the day of, or probably the day before, cutting water or whatever. So. Oh yeah, the other thing I wanted to talk about, that's kind of like the update on the week, but kind of more of a long-term update too, is if any of you, I've been posting for I think about a year. I'm not sure, probably less than that, but I've been powerlifting for about a year, and with a focus on powerlifting. I've been lifting for quite a number of years, but I started the Campbell PRS program last year. I think around this time, it might have been in April at some point. I only remember because I had like an old deadlifting video that is not on Twitter anymore, but I just remember it was around this time when I posted it. And what I did, I just did like kind of 1 rep max. It was after my working sets, and I did like 465 for a single, and it was like, compared to my form now, it was pretty ugly. And I used straps, so it was that was like my current 1 rep max for as far as deadlifts went, and that was just because I wanted to do a heavy single that day, or just, I don't know, lift a heavy thing kind of. So about a year ago, my deadlift was 465. Now it's 585. So I went up 120 pounds since then. I think it's probably closer to like 100-pound in growth, because back then, like I said, it was after like working sets and stuff. So I probably had a little bit more in the tank. Sorry, as far as that goes. But my squat, the previous max that I had before I started lifting was 355, and that, I don't know if it was a depth, I don't know if it was anything. That was just the most I've ever tried to do. So 355 for there, and bench, I don't even remember what it was. I think it was 275, but it was like ugly. It was touch and go, and it was a grinder, butt off, everything. It was 100. That was 11 RPE. It was really bad. So I think by the end, once I did the Campbell PRS program, you can see the maxes that I did before is when I did the 535 deadlift with straps, and then the 385 squat as well. And I don't think I posted my bench because it didn't actually get any better, although I do think the 275 became easier to do, which was growth, but it wasn't like a poundage growth. It was just like being able to handle that weight with better form. So I like the Campbell PRS program. I think the biggest qualm that I had with it is a lot I think it will work better for someone that is a more advanced lifter or closer to their genetic potential to where they have heavier weights that they're working with and or they're not going to progress as quickly. For me, because I was still a beginner, obviously I went from 465 at the beginning for deadlift to 535 and 355 estimated to 385. And the 355 I hadn't done for like a year previous to that because I had just lifted for like the previous year, and then before that I had a knee scope, so I was in the 355 was like my freshman year, so I had quite a bit of time between those, so it was like pretty much an estimated max. So the PRS program worked very well for those, but the speed days that I had on them, they were based on your 1 rep max, which I had to estimate or use the 465 or whatever for, and I didn't really like that because the weights were really really light, and they probably felt lighter than they even should have, because if my 1 rep max is progressing as I would think it should, more quickly than like the average person, is that those speed days based on like the 1 rep max should have moved up as well. So I think in order for that program to be more successful, it should have some mechanism to project your growth and then base your weights that you're using percentages of that growth. So if I were to do that program again, which I probably won't because I kind of like doing my own programming, on the speed days I would base those not most off like my current 1 rep max, but kind of like what I predict my 1 rep max or what I want my 1 rep max, or some number that I don't necessarily have done, but I would base it off there because like 50% of whatever is above my current 1 rep max is still going to be a pretty lightweight for me to use, and especially with my 1 rep max progressing like that. But I think at that point I was about the same, well, not the same weight that I am now, but I was about 95 pounds when I started focusing on powerlifting stuff, and then I just lifted the whole summer, and I did like high volume, high intensity, high everything, and it worked very well. A lot of people were like, oh, I tore up my body. I mean, I was sore a lot because I lifted a lot, but I made very good progress, and I just did as much as I can. But when I was doing the Camel PRS program in the summer, I actually got down to like 188 for a while, because I'd be at camp from like 8 to 4 every day, and I was outside. It was a summer camp, so I'd be losing weight all day playing soccer and running around, just being active all day long. And then I would go and lift for a couple hours after that. Or, and on my crazier days, I would have my long workout, which all my workouts are long because I'm crazy. But I would work out in the morning before I went to camp. So I'd work out for like an hour, go to camp all day, and then do the other half of my workout. So I'd split my workout in half. Or even on other days, my one friend that we were at camp, we had access to the recreation center before camp started. So sometimes we would go and swim before camp. So we would swim, and this was like I don't know if it was Olympic size, but it was a super long distance pool. So we would do laps there, but they were intense laps because they would take a while to do. And we would do that, go to camp all day, and then I would go lift consistent the whole summer. And I made progress like that. And for anyone that's still a beginner, still in the like first stages of lifting, for me, I didn't really worry about 1 rep maxes really at any point during the summer. I just tried to get as much volume, as much training as I could get in, and I think that helped a lot to not really worry about, what's my current 1 rep max in the middle of this program. It was just lift, 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 do as much volume as I can, because I want to make as much progress as I can before I test. And I test, I think sometime in December when I did the 385 and 535, I forget, but I just wanted to test after the program, because that's kind of how it's designed. I think it was like 8 weeks, and then it was had like a peaking cycle. I don't think I really did the peaking cycle that much. I just kind of just went off it and just did one, kind of my own version of it, and then just did 1 rep maxes on separate days. So even when I did the squats, when I maxed out on the 385, it was on a separate day. The deadlifts were on a day by itself, and the bench, it was on a day by itself, but I didn't get any better with it. I actually don't think I even hit 275 when I tried to do it, but now I can hit it pretty consistently without too much trouble. So yeah, and that's kind of where I've progressed in kind of a year of powerlifting. I went from 465 with straps to 585 with a hook grip, which back then I didn't even know how to do a hook grip or anything, and my grip sucked, and it still sucks now, but it's less sucky because of the hook grip. My squat went up from an estimated 355, now it's about 430, and my bench is comfortably 275, 280. I have completed 280 with decent. I mean, it was a grinder, but it was pretty clean form, but it sucked, and hopefully it's a little bit more now. But everything's gone up in a year, which is good, and hopefully when I get to this point next year and I'm reflecting on another year of powerlifting training, hopefully a year without any major injuries or anything of that sort, I can look back and hopefully I'm well over 600 for a deadlift. I'm approaching 500 for a squat, and that my bench is, if it's not at 315, it's getting very, very close to it, and without my weight fluctuating too much. So I don't know. That's kind of a analysis of kind of a year of powerlifting that I've done, and I'm very happy with the progress that I've made, and hopefully I can continue to make it, because I still kind of view myself as a beginner lifter and able to make those more radical jumps year to year, month to month, and stuff like that without, like killing myself, because I'm still in those early stages, because I think that my squat can be well over 500 and my deadlift can be approaching 700 and my bench can be well over 315 as I get into the years, and I'm still a young guy. And I think it's kind of exciting for me to look at various YouTubers who have been training for years and realize that, especially my deadlift is very, very close to them, but a lot of my lifts are, even now when I'm still a beginner, comparable, and they have been lifting for years, and my lifts and stuff aren't that far off from them. When I look at someone like Nick Wright or Max Chewing, like, I'm not that far away from what they're currently doing, or in some aspects I'm better than them. Like Nick Wright said he did 555 in the gym, like I did 585 after doing squats and stuff. So like in some aspects I'm actually better than those guys, and I think that's kind of exciting, because I'm still younger than those guys, and I think with a year or two of more training with the kind of program that I'm doing, I can get better than them. And I think that's kind of cool, to kind of see those guys and be like, oh, I can actually like lift more than them, because a lot of them, it's like they lift more than the general population, and so do I, but at the same time I can lift more than even like the YouTube fitness community. But I'm not really concerned about like lifting more than Nick Wright or Matt Chewing. That's just kind of a fun side effect of being able to make progress. My goal right now, obviously, like to get more than 600 on the deadlift, or 600 or more in the deadlift, and bench it's still like to get to 315, but right now it's to get to 300, and then deadlift is like 450 plus, and then just to infinitely progress. There's not really like a set goal. There's just kind of like milestones that I hope to hit. But that's really, I've rambled on long enough, and that's really about it I have for this video. So if you have any thoughts or comments, or if I think what would be interesting if you made it this far is to kind of share your lifting progress and kind of where you started and where you've gotten to this point, and different milestones that you've hit, because I'm curious about that too, because I always like reflecting on those kind of things, because it's rather crazy to think that like in high school when I tried to squat 295 I failed, and that was like a really, really heavy weight then, and in high school I like never deadlifted, and now I'm like an elite deadlifter, and an extremely small portion of the population with the 585, and as I progress more I'll be an even smaller portion of, or I'll be an even higher, I don't know, threshold. I don't even know what I'm trying to say. I think you can all understand what I'm trying to say. I'll be an even smaller population of people as my deadlift progresses, and like my squat and bench are just, intermediate advanced. They're not that special, but my deadlift will always be kind of special just because I think, built well for it. But anywho, if you have any thoughts or comments, or share your lifting progress down below, because I'd be curious to read about that, please do. And as always, thanks for watching and have a wonderful day.